Go into the same AFIS topic. It's a technology. We know that fingerprint, when you want to match two fingerprints, you got to just see a 70% match between them. Let's say if you want to confirm that they're the same thing. How different is AFIS to this technology, to the fingerprint recognition system?
Well, for the fingerprint machines that we use in companies for gaining entry to premises, those type of machines usually they do not actually give accurate, we can say they won't give you a way of identifying criminals as much as they're identifying the person who's trying to get into the premises.
How different is this from that?
Because in such machines, when you place your finger on the scanner, it will go and it will try to compute all the minutiae that on the ridges in your finger, and then offer a code or provide you with provide a score number. This score should be high enough to give you access or to authenticate you through the machine. In the AFIS type of system, no, the score might be very low, and there were many cases where the scores were low and identified lots of suspects. And this need the fingerprint experts to be close to the machine so that he can compare results. And this is where the distortion plays. If the image that was submitted is distorted, then the probability and the score which will result from the search will be low.
Yeah.
But that does not mean that it has no match. No. It will give the expert a way of, it will, first of all, it will return about 10 records, sometimes 50 records, it depends on the system, and then you will have to do it manually in order to compare those images.
Yeah, there you said it. You said that you got to do it manually. So even with the AFIS system, you've got to be there, an expert's got to be there, because you're not dealing with a simple case, you're dealing with criminals.
Exactly. You're trying to find a criminal, so it's not an easy process. It's not just to place a finger, because in the last show we've talked about biometrics, and we've talked about the false acceptance rate and false rejection rate. So there is a trade-off of those two rates. If you increase the false acceptance rate, which means the system will accept you by mistake, if you increase that, then you will get a false rejection, a higher false rejection rate. So it's the matter of a trade-off between those two terms. In the case of AFIS, it is very crucial for the examiner to be in the site. Why? Because this is a case, and the case is related to the court, and the court would not accept any evidence. And this, we get into what we call forensic science.
Yes.
And the forensic science, it has certain procedures of collecting the evidence. So not all the evidence will be admissible to court. There are certain procedures, and even the judge in the court will not accept certain evidence from any person. It has to be the expert in the field, because when they collect the data, it has to be authenticated. One example, if we get into a crime site and we find a PC full of data, and we take that hard disk, and there is an evidence or a fingerprint image in a file inside that hard disk, we have to authenticate the hard disk in a way that it will calculate all the hard disk, and it will give you a number, a checksum number. Same thing when you do fingerprint, right. It will give you a number. Yes. So the same, it's a similar process, but different method of doing it. So it will give you a number, and then along the case, you will always have to match this number to the evidence to make sure that this evidence was not altered. So
I mean, it's a secure system that needs a lot to deal with until you get a certain match.
That's true. Exactly. And as Mr. Hashim, he said about using two forms of authentication.
Makes it secure.
This is to make it very secure. And many companies now implementing, let's say, iris with the retina. So they're using two forms. Whenever you use two forms of ID,
you make it more hard for people to.
Yes, exactly.
You make it more hard for people to just tolerate with the system. Going with you, Mr. Ibrahim Khayyat.